Good morning, students. In today's class, I am going to discuss with you kingdom fungi or mycota. Let us start with the discussion of general characters of fungi. The first character of fungi is they show great diversity in morphology and habitat. Morphology means external appearance of an organism. So here we are discussing morphology of fungi. The members of the group fungi show different morphological structure. Means some fungi may be unicellular structure, some may have thread-like or filamentous structure, and some may exist in the form of fruiting body-like structure. They are appearing in diverse shape or structure. In the same way, the diverse form in habitat. Diversity in habitat. Habitat means the place where they live. ಅವು ವಾಸಿಸುವಂತ ಸ್ಥಳಗಳು. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವು ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡ್ತವೆ. So when we talk about the habitat, we call them cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan. Fungi are cosmopolitan. Means they found everywhere. Like in air, water, soil, and also on plants and animals. They prefer warm and humid places to grow. Fungi prefer warm and humid places to grow. That's why you used to keep the food in the refrigerator to avoid the decaying of food, because fungi are not usually growing in refrigerator condition. The fungi are cell wall, and the cell wall is made by chitin, which is a homopolysaccharide made up of polymer of N-acetyl glucosamine. It's a homopolysaccharide. Polysaccharide. It's a polymer of N-acetyl glucosamine. The fungi members are multicellular. They are multicellular eukaryotic. Most of the fungi are multicellular. But yeast is the only unicellular fungi. Remaining all the fungi are multicellular except yeast, because it is the only unicellular fungi. The bodies consist of long, slender, thread-like structure. And this is called the hyphae. The network of hyphae is called the mycelium. Network of hyphae is called mycelium. mycelium. The hyphae may be in two types. One type, aseptate. Another one is septate. Aseptate hypha is the one which is filled with multinucleated cytoplasm. It's a tubular structure which is filled with multinucleated cytoplasm. These are the nuclei and surrounding this one is cytoplasm. Means nuclei are just like floating in the cytoplasm or present in the cytoplasm, and they are not separating from one another because there are no cross walls to separate one nucleus to the other nucleus. This condition is called the cenocytic. Cenocytic, and such cenocytic hypha is called the cenocytic hypha. And aseptate hypha usually present in lower fungi. Lower fungi like Phycomycetes. In this another type of hypha, where each nucleus is separated from a cross wall. Each nucleus is separated from a cross wall. This cross wall is called the septa, and then each compartment has a single nucleus, and this is called the uninucleate. This one is called the uninucleate, and this one is multinucleate. And such hypha is called the septate hypha, and septate hypha usually present in higher fungi like Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes have the septate hypha. Next is the mode of nutrition in fungi. Next feature is mode of nutrition. Fungi are heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means they depend on another organism for their food because they do not have chlorophyll or any other pigments. No pigment. It's why they are not able to do photosynthetic reaction for their food. They have to depend on another organism. There are three methods in heterotrophic type. One is saprophytic. Second one is parasitic. And third one is symbiotic. Most of the fungi are saprophytic. The meaning of saprophytic is the fungi depends on another organism for their food, but the dependent or the host is dead end or decaying parts of the plant or animal bodies. Means they get food from dead and decaying parts of plant and animal bodies. Parasitic. Parasitic are those which gets their food from living organisms. They get their food from living organisms. Here we may add one more thing. Some parasitic fungi are pathogenic also. Means they not only get their food, but they also cause a disease to the host one. Some of the example for pathogenic fungi are white rust. white rust in mustard caused by fungi albugo. Another disease is wheat rust to the plant wheat, and it is caused by the fungi Coccinia. These are not only parasitic, they also cause the disease to their host organisms. Only few fungi are symbiotic. Symbiotic means it's an association which exists between two organisms where both organisms are mutually benefited. There are two examples for symbiotic relation. One is lichen, another one is mycorrhiza. First of all, we discuss about the lichen. Lichen is a type of symbiotic relation which exists between fungi and algae. It exists between the fungi and algae. Here, algae provide food to the fungi by photosynthetic reaction, where in turn fungi gives water to the algae. Means both are mutually benefited, and this relation is called the lichen. It's a type of symbiotic relation, and fungi is also called the mycobiont, and algae we may also call the phycobiont. Algae, a part of lichen, is also called the phycobiont. Fungi, a part of lichen, is also called the mycobiont. Next relation is mycorrhiza. It's another symbiotic relation, and this relation exists between the fungi and roots of higher plants. Fungi and roots of higher plants. Higher plants. In this relation, fungi gets nutrition and shelter from these higher plants, and in turn, this fungi provides some phosphorus and also gives resistance to the soil pathogen. Fungi provides the mineral like phosphorus, and also it gives resistance against soil-borne pathogen. It gives resistance to the higher plants against soil-borne pathogen. And roots of higher plants provides the shelter and food to the fungi. These both are mutually benefited from each other. And this relation is called the symbiotic, and a type is mycorrhiza. Next, we talk about the reproduction in fungi. Reproduction in fungi. Three types of reproductions are there. One is vegetative, which by means of fragmentation, fission, and by budding. Second type is asexual, by spores like conidia or sporangiospores or zoospores. And next type is sexual type of reproduction, by spores like oospores, ascospores, basidiospores. And these spores produce a distinct structure called the fruiting bodies. They produce in a distinct structure called the fruiting bodies. The sexual cycle of fungi shows 3 steps. Sexual cycle of fungi shows 3 steps. Let us discuss those 3 steps. First one is plasmogamy. Second one is karyogamy. And third step is meiosis in zygote to form haploid spores. First of all, what is the meaning of plasmogamy? Plasmogamy means it's a fusion of protoplasma of 2 haploid motile or non-motile gametes. When 2 haploid motile or non-motile gametes come very close to each other, the common one degenerate and protoplasm of this cell and protoplasm of this cell mix, and this process is called the plasmogamy. But nuclei are not fusing here. The next step is karyogamy. Karyogamy means when these 2 haploid nuclei fuse together and form the diploid nucleus. Haploid nuclei come very close to each other and they fuse together and form a diploid nucleus. Then it is called the karyogamy. Now, after the fusion of 2 haploid nuclei, this process is called the fertilization and this is called the zygote. The structure is called the zygote, which is diploid. And in diploid zygote, meiosis takes place and produce 4 haploid spores. And due to meiosis in the diploid zygote, 4 haploid spores are produced. And this process takes place in those fungi which have haplontic life cycle. Haplontic life cycle. The fungi also show dikaryon phase. When fungi reproduce sexually, the hyphae of compatible type come very close to each other. And the crosswalls degenerate. The protoplasm of these 2 cells fuse together or plasmogamy takes place and they become a common tube with 2 nuclei. This condition is called dikaryon. And these 2 nuclei are kept separate throughout the whole body, but they are fusing in structure called basidium. When they go to the basidium, there they fuse and form the diploid nucleus, and the same process repeat here. The diploid nucleus containing cell is called the zygote, which divides meiotically and forms 4 cells. And these 4 cells form the 4 basidiospores. So, such type or dikaryon we see in fungi like Ascomycetes and Basidiomycetes. And next, classification of fungi. Fungi are classified into 4 classes based on some features like classification of kingdom fungi. Kingdom fungi is classified into 4 classes based on features like morphology of mycelium, spore formation, and also type of fruiting body. So these characters are considered by classifying the kingdom fungi. So there are 4 classes. One is Phycomycetes. Second one is Ascomycetes. Third one is Basidiomycetes. And fourth one is Ditromycetes. So these are the 4 classes of kingdom fungi, and they are classified based on these features: morphology of mycelium, spore formation, and fruiting bodies. So here I am going to conclude this session. In next class, we will discuss characters and example of each class. Thank you.